Ah, boy. You know, I told myself and I promised my mom that I would sleep in today, but you just want to wake up in the morning and make pickles. Yeah, I got up at like 4:30 this morning, like, you know what, I'm going to make pickled carrots again, so I did. And, actually, let me start by saying that my low for today is the fact that I couldn't really sleep last night. But that's okay because I did something productive and I made pickles. This time, I actually learned a few things and did a few things differently than last time. Because, you know, like last time I did white vinegar, or distilled white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, red wine vinegar, and white wine vinegar. And this time I got rid of the latter two. I replaced the minced garlic with minced onions. I replaced rosemary with tarragon, and I replaced white sugar with light brown sugar. But pretty much everything else is the same. I always toast my black peppercorns, mustard seeds, and coriander seeds. 1 bay leaf per jar, water, salt. That's all she wrote. I'm glad I got this pickle fixed again. Also, I actually took the time and was patient, and so I actually was able to do a better job cutting the carrots into, carrot sticks. So I was actually able to stretch a 3-pound bag of carrots to 4 jars instead of 3, like I hopelessly tried to do last time. Actually, I think last time I did it, I ate a couple carrots beforehand. I forget, but this time for sure, I stretched out the jar, or I stretched out the bag and got 4 jars, and now I just wait for a little while. Let's see, what was my act of kindness? Right, my act of kindness. Remember yesterday I got up really early because I saw that it was bad out. In the interim, after I finished my video, first I did my arc thoughts, which I hope you guys enjoyed yesterday. And then I drove over to my folks' place and shoveled their driveway for them. It wasn't bad, but, it's just something that you ought to do. So, with that out of the way, we have a class in session video to do today now, don't we? Good morning, happy Saturday, everybody. For those of you guys who don't know, I took the time. For those of you guys who are new, let me explain. Basically, I started the class in session series because it was around October when I thought, I'd be in school. Maybe I'll talk about what life was like in school for me, what classes I took. And that's pretty much what I've done. And it's funny that I kind of procrastinated on this one because if any of the classes that I would have procrastinated on to begin with, it would be this. Basically, this is a class I took freshman, sophomore, and junior year. And actually, again, when I was at Trinity-Pawling. This class, some of you are probably thinking it was Spanish, and I do plan on doing a class in session video on Spanish, but this time I'll actually do something that I kind of been trying to do, and that is English. Now, for those of you guys who've been watching this since the beginning, you know that when I was at Horseheads, there were 2 Regents exams I did the worst on. The first was Math B, which I talked about previously. And the second was this one, English. Both of them were 74s, by the way. Yeah, not good. But, hey, I have a Regents Diploma. I can't really complain now, can I? But, you're probably wondering, how would you struggle in English? It's the language you speak. You're using English right now to talk in this video. How could you possibly do that bad at a Regents exam? Well, here's the thing. Traditionally, yes, it's called English. But what it really is, I can't even speak grammar properly now. What the class entails is mostly literature. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, if you've been watching me forever now, then you guys know I do not like to read. I want to clarify this. I know how to read. I mean, I have a bachelor's in health sciences from Gettysburg College. Pretty sure I know how to read. I know how to read. I just don't like to do it. You know, even when people are reading stories for entertainment, I still find it to be like the most boring, tedious, like low energy thing you can do. In fact, I can almost fall asleep. That's how boring I think it is. And I hardly ever fall asleep at will or on the fly like that. Now, don't get me wrong, I have done One Piece manga chapter reactions, but that really is more like, a comic. In fact, for those of you guys who don't know, One Piece is actually the third biggest, third biggest comic book story of all time right now. In fact, it's only behind Batman and Superman. Probably gonna catch Batman, probably not Superman, but it is what it is. So, begs the question, what kind of stuff did you read in English? Well, here's the thing. It's not that I don't like reading per se, because there are things I like to read, but I just cannot get invested into a story. Like, even when I was taking, English classes in which we would discuss, like, what's going on in the story, that's the only time I'd ever get invested. Because I'm like, oh, that's what it means, or that's what it does. Like, there's some sort of grand, significant meaning in everything going on in the story. And in some stories, that's the case. But it's just not my style to just actively seek out what specific thing is in a story. That's just not how I work. I'd rather have pictures. I'd rather have visual engagement. I would rather, see exactly like what the author or visionary, entailed, see their vision and be able to be like, okay, so that's what it means. It's really just a simple matter of people do things differently, and I'm just describing you how I do things. Nothing wrong with that. Some people, I'm actually a combination of like three things. I can see someone do it and they're like, okay, I can do that too. I can hear and follow directions just fine. And, I can do something as long as I have enough time to practice and, learn about it. I'm pretty much sort of a jack of all trades type of learner. But sometimes I really would rather just see what's going on. And this is one class that just did not bode well for me at all. Like, I hated to read. I could never get engaged in the stories. And then there was the Regents exams themselves. The Regents exam itself. Like, every final I would take in English for high school, there was, multiple choice questions and an essay or two. By the time you got to the Regents exam, you had to write 4 5-paragraph essays. Let me repeat that. You had to write 4 5-paragraph essays. At least back when I did it. And each 5-paragraph essay involved a certain section of the Regents exam. Like, there was one 5-paragraph essay where you had to listen to a story and what was going on, and you had to write a 5-paragraph essay based on that. Yeah, I'm not buying that. I don't like that at all. So, some of the essays were kind of easy. You had to write an essay or about like a story based on. To be perfectly honest, I completely forget the format of the Regents exam. Except for the listening part, that's the part I really remember. I can't really remember much else about the Regents exam. All I know is that, I was glad that, I passed. I did all my work. I did everything I could, and in the end, I had my Regents Diploma. But this is one class where I was just as happy to get the heck out of Dodge in that classroom when I was done with my Regents exam. I can guarantee you that. So, I guess the only thing I really could talk about now is what kind of stuff did I read? Well, here's the thing. I said in the past that I became familiar with the works of Shakespeare, specifically more alongside his tragedies, Romeo and Juliet, the tragedy of Julius Caesar, Othello. We read Hamlet, and actually Hamlet was a Trinity-Pawling. Othello was also Trinity-Pawling. Actually, I take that back. There was one comedy that I did read at Horseheads, but that involves a class that I'll save for another time, because it really does deserve its own. It really does deserve its own video, considering how that particular class was taught by a legendary teacher of Horseheads. I'll just leave it at that. If you're from Horseheads, you know exactly what I'm talking about, probably. So with that said, other stories I read were read Heart of Darkness, Arthur Miller's The Crucible, let's see, To Kill a Mockingbird, obviously. Who hasn't read that? There really are lots of other stories that we read, but for life of me, I can't remember them all. I'm just giving you a brief rundown of what, I had to read. And so basically some really good stories, the works of Shakespeare. And, before anyone asks the question, no, I do not consider myself even a remote expert on Shakespeare's literature or whatever. In fact, one thing I did learn when I was in English class at Horseheads, there really isn't any concrete historical stuff about Shakespeare. I mean, we as a human race as a whole barely have any idea as to what his life was like at all. That's being truth. That's being truthful. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some history shows that are really trying to deep delve into that, but I can tell you for a fact, at least back when I was in school, there was hardly anything historical about Shakespeare. So, yeah. Anything else about that class that was interesting? Oh, right. Writing bibliographies was a pain. Bibliographies. Seriously, I actually almost failed English 10 because of, 10th grade English, because of, what the teacher was not willing to help with, bibliographies or whatever. That was one teacher I did not like. She wasn't the worst teacher I ever had, but she's definitely one I don't think favorable of. I can say that much. What else is there? I mean, I make it sound like English class was bad. It really wasn't that bad. I mean, I have some good memories in those classes. Really, I do. Even though I barely remember reading any of the stuff that, we read, I remember some things. And actually, that's not entirely true. There is one story that always will stick out to me, and that I mentioned earlier is To Kill a Mockingbird. I've said this before, I will say this again. Atticus Finch is my favorite literary character of all time. And it's not even close. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Harry Potter. I like Katniss Everdeen. I like Huckleberry Finn. But, to me, Atticus Finch just defines just the kind of person we should all strive to be. If you don't know what happens to Kill a Mockingbird, there's actually a trial going on. Atticus Finch is a lawyer, you see. And he is defending an African American who was accused of murder. Now, all of the evidence straight up is legitimately pointing to this guy didn't do anything at all. This black man is 100% innocent, and it would be an open shut case. But here's the thing. To Kill a Mockingbird takes place in the rural South. In I forget what specific, I want to say the early 1900s, late 1800s. Don't quote me on that. But basically, this was a time when racial tensions were about as high as they could ever hope to be. I mean, let's just say we live in better, I mean, considering the Black Lives Matter movement and everything that happened as of late, like, that stuff is bad, but trust me, it was a lot worse then. I can assure you. We live in much better times now. But, I just said this the other day, on the day after Martin Luther King Day. We have come so very far, yet we still have so very far to go. I'll say that much. And throughout all the heckling, and throughout all the tensions, and like all the threats that Atticus Finch is receiving, he doesn't waver. He goes and sticks to this trial to the bitter end. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forget how the story ends. But I can tell you that the important thing about what I took from it is, and this is actually fun, I actually used this as my senior quote in my senior yearbook, in my yearbook senior year at Horseheads. I'm sorry, I don't remember it verbatim, but this was something Atticus Finch said. The one thing that can't be, hold on. I'm sorry. I really do remember using this quote as my senior quote. I just can't quite remember it. Sorry, this is gonna take a minute to load. I'm sorry. But in the end, as English as a whole, there is a lot of stuff I took from it that, don't let my stuff about what I said about the Regents exam, how I hate reading, all that stuff, do not let that sway you. I really did take a lot more positive things from English than even I could have suspected. So please, don't, hold on. I'm trying to do things at once, I'm sorry. I know where it is, hold on. I'm looking for the quote and trying to talk at the same time, I'm sorry. And please do this. Thank you. Hold on. I know it's here. Okay. Okay, here's the quote. This is what it is. Because I remember this wording. The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience. I used that as my senior quote when I graduated from Horseheads. And in a lot of ways, it speaks volumes. It does. So, yeah. You can take that. That's one positive thing right there. My senior quote was from To Kill a Mockingbird. So, there you go. I should probably wrap this up before I stall too long. So, yes. English was not my favorite class. I really wasn't that great at it. I didn't like to read, but you know what? In the end, I did take a lot of good things from it. I have good memories. I met some good people, obviously. So, all in all, while I know I wasn't the happiest taking English, it was necessary for me to do. I got my Regents Diploma. I graduated from high school, graduated from college. I speak English very good. Thank you very much. So, there you go. Like, favorite, chat, subscribe, and follow me on social media. I'm trying to get to YouTube. I'm going to hold on to this video for all of you guys to watch the show today. Hopefully, you have a wonderful Saturday. Remember, if you guys don't want to talk to channel, it's going to be here to let you know. So, back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.